L-sit pull-ups are a stricter, harder variation that puts more emphasis on the core and also more torque on the shoulders in comparison to standard pull-ups. So in this video, I not only want to explain the difference between these two variations, but also give you a very detailed L-sit pull-up tutorial with progressions. In order to understand how L-sit pull-ups differ from regular pull-ups, it helps to get beneath a very low horizontal bar, so you can sit on the floor like this in an L-sit position. Now, with your head and shoulders almost directly beneath the bar, try to pull up like you would in a regular pull-up. What you'll notice is your upper body and hips naturally slide backwards as you try to pull up. In order to understand why this happens, I'll pause right here. You see, since your legs are extended out in front of you in the L-sit position, this moves your center of gravity forward. Now, this differs from regular pull-ups because in regular pull-ups, the center of gravity is almost directly beneath the bar, or grips in this case that I'm using. And when your center of gravity is below the bar like that, the majority of the load is actually on your lats, rhomboids, upper traps, etc. But in the L-sit pull-up, since your center of gravity is more forward, this changes the way you do your pull-up. You're not only pulling down on the bar, but you're also pressing it slightly forward from the shoulders in order to keep your head and torso well away from your hands and the bar. This means there's an increase of torque at the shoulders, and in combination with the hard contraction of the hip flexors to hold your legs out in front of you, all in all just makes this a harder, stricter variation of pull-ups. So, since L-sit pull-ups are harder on the shoulders, before we work on them, we want to make sure we thoroughly warm up, especially our rotator cuff muscles. And I want to emphasize that the external rotators are what you want to focus on most, especially if you're short on time. Here I'm doing external rotations with a band. But if you don't have any rubber bands, you can also do side-lying external rotations holding a small weighted object. Or check out one of my shoulder mobility videos for more ideas on how you can thoroughly warm up your rotator cuff muscles. There's plenty of options, especially for the external rotators. For instance, like these standing L's, where you stand with your torso at about 45 degrees, and then with your arms bent like an L, raise your hands up to ear level. Once you're done with a thorough warm-up, including your rotator cuff muscles, then you're ready to start working on your L-sit pull-ups. For the first progression, stand with your chin just above your bar, raise one foot off the ground, and see if you can get that second foot out, holding this L-sit top position. If you can't, then just keep one foot on the ground until you build enough strength. Now, one tip I want to give you here as I pause is that you want to keep your thigh muscles contracted, as well as your calf muscles contracted, and you do that by applying plantar flexion of the ankle. That essentially means that your toes should be pointed forward at the wall in front of you. Holding these contractions in the lower body will help with the L-sit because your body will feel lighter, like it's one solid unit. Once you can hold for about 8 to 10 seconds, then you're ready to move on to the next progression. For progression number 2, we're going to work on L-sit pull-up negatives. So you're going to get up into that top position, and from here lower down slowly in about 3 to 5 seconds to the bottom position. Once you're at the bottom, just stand back up, reset to the top position, and repeat for another rep. Now, I'm recommending about 3 to 5 seconds initially for your negatives, just because as a beginner starting out with these, it's going to take some getting used to. And remember, you're going to be pushing away with the shoulders as well as pulling down on the bar, and that's going to take some getting used to. However, once you've been working on these for several sessions, you may start to find that you can consistently do 5 reps in a set of 3 to 5 seconds, and it's no longer too challenging. So at that point, I recommend slowing the tempo, doing about 7 or 8 second negatives per rep. Just like the first phase of negatives, you're going to practice these consistently in your workouts until these slower negatives start to feel natural and not too challenging anymore. And once you get to that point that you can consistently do 5 reps of slower negatives at about a 7 to 8 second tempo, then I've noticed some people are ready for their first legit L-sit pull-up. Others, however, need an extra progression, and that is assisted L-sit pull-ups. You can accomplish this by wrapping a band around your bar and looping it through itself. And I personally have found that the length of the loop is too long, so I have to loop it through itself multiple times. Just keep looping it through till you find the right length for the loop. Once you've got your band at the right length, then you're ready to step both feet through the loop, keeping the band around your thighs just above the knee, and then perform L-sit pull-ups, allowing the band to provide assistance. This especially helps with providing assistance for the bottom position of the L-sit pull-up when you're pulling yourself up from a dead hang, and that's often what people need as sort of a stepping stone between the negatives and legit L-sit pull-ups. When it comes time for your first L-sit pull-up, I recommend starting in a dead hang with your scapulas elevated. This means shoulders up by the ears. You want to start by activating the muscles of the mid-upper back and the shoulders to sort of lock the humeral head, that's the upper arm bone, into the shoulder socket. Now from here, you need to simultaneously depress and rotate the scapulas, so your shoulder blades rotate and move down as you get up off the floor, and then continue retracting and depressing to get your head above the bar. Also, remember to apply some forward pressure from the shoulders throughout your L-sit pull-ups due to that forward center of gravity. And I recommend using a combination of full L-sit pull-ups and negatives in order to build up your strength and build up those reps. So I hope this video was helpful to anyone looking to learn this awesome variation of pull-ups, especially to those of you who bought a base bar or the B-bars recently. And if it was helpful, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you're new and if you want to learn more from me. All right, and I will see you in the next video. Talk to you later.